Let's talk to John McCann, the creator of Steal and Plunder, a new multiplayer card-based strategy game made by South Africans for South Africans. Proudly South African, the topic Stealing and Plunder is less proudly South African. John joins us from Durbanville. Hello, John.
Good afternoon, John, and CapeTalk listeners. Thanks for having me on your show.
Great pleasure. Are you in the business of game development?
Not really. This is I said to my wife earlier, it's a bit of a perfect storm for us of where we are in the country at the moment. So the combination of being driven to playing lots of card games with the family during load shedding, the need to start side hustles due to the rising cost of living, and sort of the general day-to-day stealing and plundering that surrounds us in all the news feeds. So really a side hustle. It's our 5 to 9 job, and really a bit of a passion project that we started just over a year ago.
And did it start as a result of a conversation over a dinner table, on a bar stool, around a fire?
Yeah, it was actually, it's funny you mentioned it. I'm a co-developer. I said myself, my brother, his wife, my wife, and other family members were away in Kurenberg for the weekend of the Football World Cup last year, so just over a year ago. And we couldn't watch a lot of the football because of load shedding, so we ended up playing a lot of games. And which is sort of one of the positive outcomes of load shedding is we ended up having the kids around the table a lot more. And then the talk sort of led to current news affairs, and we said, surely, we can do something with a very good local twist on that, and came up with the concept of Steal and Plunder. And my brother went away and developed a prototype, and after another couple of weekends away up the West Coast and bashing it out in the northern suburbs, we landed with our first concept, and it's grown from there. So happy that it's just entered the market and doing really nicely so far.
How do you win? That's the most important thing. You don't play a game just to play the game. You play the game to win. Well, most people play the game to win rather than just to play.
Yeah, it's basically a wealth stacker game. So you've got to collect various illicit industries in the South African economy, and ultimately the goal is to get to, the first one, to 10 million rand, or we crown king of Mzansi shadow economy, and the new number one, or at least amongst your friends and family. But we've made it properly local, but tried to avoid any of the really harmful economies. And so we've got cards like stolen copper wire, cash in the couch, pre-approved tenders, fake perfumes, counterfeit cigarettes, and various other economies that you accumulate in the gameplay, but really fast and simple. And obviously we've got the local twists of power cards such as Flee the Country, which allows you to take all your cash offshore. You can tax audit one of your competitors. You can do a forensic audit and steal cards out of their hand. And obviously in line with the name of the game, steal and plunder your opponent's wealth deck. So a really fun twist on local events, and we're sort of hoping that we can update it from time to time with new and developing criminal economies that tend to pop up from time to time.
Should we be having fun with an absolute blight, something which holds us back as a country? I presume you anticipated the question, and you've had it put to you by others.
Absolutely. So I think we've got a huge disclaimer on the side of the box, which is as the developers, we in no way encourage or condone any of this activity in real life. It's just a game. I think South Africans, we're particularly resilient and tend to find a way to laugh at ourselves every now and then. So it really is just a bit of a light-hearted take on what's happening around us. I said it surely beats sitting and moaning about these things all the time. So it's actually been quite interesting. Our game, we put a age restriction on the game for 13, more because of how competitive the actual game is and not so much the harmful content. But we found it's actually been quite a good conversation starter with a number of people about things that we talk about in the game. Zama Zama Gold, for example, is a joker card, or we call them wild cards. And, a number of the other industries don't really get spoken about too much. So good conversation pieces. We've got teenage kids. But it's really, once the game is played, people really get stuck into it. But it's certainly not a condonment of any of it in real life.
Of course it wouldn't be, but okay, question asked and answered. I haven't played games for a long time. I haven't been in the sort of situation where I've been with enough people with enough interest. But I do still play cribbage sometimes, which is a board game for two people. But so what is the kind of optimum number of people for Steal and Plunder, and how long does a game take? Because games like Risk, which I used to play, 4 hours later you're still going and bored to tears.
Yeah, listen, the whole game, as I said, optimally 3 to 6 players. It can stretch to 7 or 8, but then you really accelerate gameplay. Average round will take you 20 minutes to get through. And if you had to sort of try and think about games of a similar playing style, it's sort of Uno meets Monopoly and Gin Rummy all rolled together. My brother said that gives birth to corruption, but it's more sort of a gameplay around Uno, Monopoly and Gin Rummy. Really find the younger members of the family particularly take to it really well, but enjoyed by all.
Good luck with it, John. Hope it works for everybody who is involved in its development. John McCann, one of the creators of Steal and Plunder.